Have you ever walked into an airport thinking everything is normal, only to feel that sudden, quiet shiver down your spine because something just feels different, like there's an invisible system watching you in a way you can't quite explain? Well, if you're planning to fly anytime in 2026, that feeling won't just be your imagination. It might be the new ultra-advanced airport screening method that's silently catching travelers off guard. And honestly, even aviation experts are whispering that it's unlike anything airports have ever rolled out before, partly because this isn't just a security upgrade. It's a whole psychological shift in how people are being screened without realizing they're being screened. What's wild is that this new method doesn't start at the security line or even the check-in counter. It begins the moment you enter airport property, and in some cases, possibly even before you arrive, because airports are now experimenting with a predictive behavior recognition system that doesn't rely on what you're carrying, but how your body reacts when you move through certain signal zones. These new invisible screening corridors that use a mix of thermal mapping, micro-expression tracking, AI-based gait analysis, pressure-sensitive flooring, and even something officials are calling ambient biometrics, which is basically a fancy name for reading unconscious physiological responses without traditional scanners. And what's freaking everybody out is that passengers don't know when they're being analyzed or which actions trigger deeper scanning. Imagine this. You're rolling your suitcase toward the terminal doors, yawning, slightly annoyed, maybe hungry, maybe nervous, and completely unaware that overhead lights are scanning your skin temperature. Tiny sensors under the tiles are detecting subtle differences in the force of your steps, and cameras tucked inside digital wayfinding signs are evaluating micro-movements in your facial muscles, the kind that are impossible to fake or control, creating a kind of emotional profile that determines whether the system flags you for secondary screening before you even reach TSA. And here's the kicker. Airports aren't calling this security screening. They're branding it as a passenger flow enhancement tool, which is another way of saying they're watching your behavior in real time, but not telling you exactly what they're measuring. Some insiders have leaked that the tech was originally tested in a few international airports in 2024 and early 2025, disguised as a terminal efficiency study. But what passengers didn't know at the time was that these studies were actually evaluating how well-hidden biometric systems could detect stress patterns, agitation responses, inconsistent movement rhythms, and even miniature hesitations at intersections. Little moments humans don't pay attention to, but AI reads like a confession. So now, with the US preparing to fully roll out this system in 2026, things are about to get weird, especially because the system isn't only detecting threats, it's learning travelers. The AI builds a behavioral baseline of normal traveler movements. People rushing, chilling, wandering, panicking because they forgot headphones, arguing with partners, getting bored, everything. Then it compares new patterns against millions of others and highlights anything that feels off, even if the passenger doesn't realize they're projecting stress signals. What's strange is that the airport staff working around these zones won't know who is flagged either. The system routes certain passengers into what looks like a normal line, but is actually a smart diversion lane, where additional sensors are placed in the floor and ceiling, and TSA officers trained in micro-expressive reading casually observe travelers while pretending to do routine checks. But this isn't the part that's catching everyone off guard. What really throws passengers into confusion is that these new security points don't look like security at all. Gone are the intimidating metal detectors and the giant X-ray tunnels. Instead, the new lanes look more like fancy walk-through light panels or minimalist hallways with nothing but clean white walls and soft lighting. But inside those walls is technology that, according to leaked documents, can analyze up to 57 micro-behaviors in less than 5 seconds. A former systems engineer even mentioned something that sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie. The panels can detect changes in electromagnetic fields around the human body when someone is extremely nervous or concealing something metallic on their skin. And before you panic, no, it's not reading your mind, but it is reading your reactions in a way humans can't hide. Travelers who are late, stressed, or genuinely anxious are being mistaken for suspicious individuals. And this has led to certain airports testing emotion reset pods, tiny quiet zones where flagged passengers can sit for a minute to normalize their heart rate before re-entering the lane. And if that sounds bizarre, welcome to 2026 airport travel. Another wild part: the system is learning cultural movement patterns too. Airport analysts notice that certain cultures walk differently when nervous. Some smile awkwardly, some speak more with their hands. And instead of misclassifying these differences, the AI now tailors its readings, almost like it's growing smarter socially. But here's where things get almost creepy. Reports suggest the system can detect attempts to manipulate behavior. If someone tries too hard to appear calm, slower walk, forced smile, relaxed shoulders, the AI picks up the unnatural rhythm and flags it instantly. It's like lying to a machine that has studied millions of liars. And while the public was told this is about efficiency, insiders claim the tech was originally derived from research on tracking deception in diplomatic facilities. Travelers in airports that started early testing described feeling watched, even in areas where no visible cameras were present. Some said they were randomly pulled aside for secondary checks even though they had TSA pre-check and had flown dozens of times without issues. The explanation: the new predictive system doesn't care about your travel or status. It cares about your body language signals, and sometimes those signals fire off without you realizing it. For example, one early tester was flagged because he briefly hesitated near a restroom while deciding whether to go inside before security. The system interpreted the micropause as uncertainty and routed him to additional questioning. This is what makes the 2026 method so shocking. It punishes normal human behavior because AI doesn't always understand humanity. Yet airports are trusting it anyway. And here's something no one on YouTube is talking about. Airports are creating dynamic scanning zones that change location daily. So one day the primary screening might be near the entrance, the next day in the escalator area, and another day near concessions, meaning passengers cannot predict where they're being analyzed. And the unpredictability is intentional to prevent pattern gaming by people trying to exploit gaps in security. Some airports will even integrate scanning into moving walkways, escalators, and jet bridges. So the moment you walk toward your aircraft, the system performs one final behavioral sweep to ensure nothing has changed in your emotional state since earlier scans. And maybe the strangest thing, airlines will receive pre-flight behavior summaries about certain flagged passengers, without names, just general alerts to prepare staff for possible issues on board, which means flight attendants will start responding to passengers based on AI-generated behavioral predictions. So what does this mean for you? It means 2026 airport travel is stepping into an era where your body is your passport, your mood is your screening data, and your unconscious reactions are the checkpoints you don't see. It means airport screening no longer feels like a moment. It's a silent process happening around you all the time. And the craziest part is that most travelers still won't know it's happening, even after it becomes fully operational. Just imagine walking through an airport thinking everything's normal, while an invisible network of sensors is studying you like a character in a story you didn't even know you were part of. So the real question is, when this system rolls out, will travelers feel safer? Or will they feel watched in a way that changes how we behave in airports forever? Because once this screening becomes standard in 2026, there's no going back to the old way, and this new method, quiet, invisible, and incredibly smart, might just redefine the entire airport experience in ways that no one is ready for, yet everyone will have to accept. And honestly, maybe that's the biggest shock of all.